Alright guys, are you ready for this one? This is definitely a tough section. We are going to use long division with polynomials now. So the first thing that we want to talk about is to remember how to do long division with plain old numbers. So let's pick a easy example. 3 into 13, 1, 7, 5. Why not? Okay, first thing you do, leave myself some room here, is divide. So I'm going to do 3 into 1. Now in this case 3 doesn't divide into 1, so I move to the next decimal place over and I go, okay, 3 into 13. That is 4 times. Next step I do then is multiply back. And I say, well, 3 times 4 is 12. And I subtract to figure out what's left over after I do that. So 13 minus 12 is 1. Then I bring on down the next place value. Bring down. So this 1 comes down here. Then I do all the steps over again. I divide. 3 into 11 goes 3 times. Multiply back. 3 times 3 is 9. Subtract. And I get 2. Bring down the 7. Go through all the steps again. Divide. 3 into 27 goes nicely. 9 times. Multiply back. 3 times 9 is 27. Subtract. And I get 0. Bring down the 5. Divide. 3 divided by 5 is 1. 1 times 3, that's the multiply back, is 3. And I get 2 as an answer when I subtract. The 2, and for our purposes right now we're not going to add decimal points and go on, the 2 is the remainder. And so on top we say 2 is the remainder. We did not yet divide it by 3. So we use the dividend and the remainder to create a fraction at the end. We're going to use these same steps, but now with variables. Okay, long division with polynomials. Same steps as we just went over with plain old numbers. It looks a little bit different. There's a couple little tricks to it. So the first thing we're going to do is divide. And now when I have 2 terms over here, I'm really just dividing the first term here with the first term that's over here. The negative 2 will come into play later. So my first step is divide. What is x squared divided by x? X. Now I'm going to multiply back. I'm going to do x times x, which is x squared. And now I'm also going to do x times negative 2. And I get negative 2x. Notice that these two line up and are alike terms, and these two line up and are like terms. Next step is to subtract. I'm going to subtract both of these, and this is where it gets a little confusing because I need to subtract the x squared. I'm also subtracting negative 2x. So think about distributing this negative as you go across. X squared minus x squared is 0. This should always turn out to be 0 here. And then negative x minus negative 2x is positive 1x. If it helps you, go through and distribute this negative, and this is really going to be a negative x squared then, and this is going to become a positive 2, if you want to go about it that way. Okay, bring down the next term. Now we start over. Divide. X divided by x is just 1. And it's a positive 1, so we can put a plus here. Multiply back. 1 times x is 1x. 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. Subtract. Remember that you're subtracting both terms, so there's a little bit of distributing a negative that you have to do. 1x minus 1x is 0. Negative 12 minus negative 2x is the same as adding positive 2x, so I get negative 10 as an answer. I have nothing left over here, so I'm going to use my remainder, negative 10, and write it over what I'm dividing by. This right here is the answer that we're looking for. Let's try another one. Divide. N divided by n squared is n. Multiply back. N times n is n squared. N times 2 is 2n. Subtract these two terms. And again, it's like you're distributing. So n squared minus n squared is 0. Negative 11n minus 2n is negative 13n. Bring down the last term. Start at the top again. Divide. N divided by negative 13n is negative 13. Multiply back. Negative 13 times n is negative 13n. Negative 13 times 2 is negative 26. Subtract. Remember, I'm subtracting both of these terms. If I distribute this negative, I'm really turning both of these terms positive. This is 0, this is 0. That means this divides evenly, and I'm not going to have any kind of weird fraction thing at the end here. N minus 13 is my answer. Let's try one more. Divide. A squared divided by a is a. Multiply back. A times a is a squared. A times negative 2 is negative 2a. Subtract both of these terms. What I'm going to do instead of subtracting and putting parentheses and all that kind of stuff, I'm going to change this sign and change this sign. It's like distributing through with a negative. This is 0, this is negative 1a. Bring down the next term. Divide. Negative 1a divided by a is negative 1. Multiply back. Negative 1 times a is negative 1a. Negative 1 times negative 2 is positive 2. Subtract. And remember, I'm subtracting both of these, so I'm going to distribute a negative through here. This is 0, this is 5. I have nothing left to bring down, so I take my remainder, put it over what I'm dividing by, and have my final answer.